Hello all, welcome to my channel. This is Sumant, and in our previous videos, we have seen how to integrate our Mocha test to Browser Stack. If you haven't watched those videos, I will add a link at the top and I recommend you to watch those videos first. Now in this video, we will discuss how to run your Mocha test in parallel. If you remember, we have created this Mocha test file in our last session, and we'll be using the same file for this session too. Now in this Mocha test file, right, we have created 3 tests. In the first test, we are going to google.com, logging the title of the website, and then in the after each, we are logging the test status in browser stack and closing the browser. Similarly, in the second test, we are going to Orange HRM website, and in third test, we are going to Amazon website. Now, to understand parallel execution, let me create 10 more files, copying this file. The content of all the files will be same. I'll just change the names of these files. So I've created the 10 test files. In the first test file, right, I've given the suite name as browser stack integration test 1, and then the test name as Google test 1, Orange HRM test 1, and Amazon test 1. Similarly, in the second test file, so I've added 2 at the end so that we can uniquely identify these tests when they are run in browser stack. Now let's go to our package.json and then see what is the command that we are using for executing our Mocha test. Now, this is how we configured uh, the Mocha command in the script stack. Now, this is the command that we are executing Mocha. All the Mocha tests present in this particular folder, and we are providing the timeout as 60 seconds. Now, when we run this command, right, using npm run test Mocha bs test. Now, if I run it, all the tests that are present under this folder, they are executed serially. So they are not executed in parallel. None of the tests are executed in parallel. So if you look at the console, right, now my first test in the suite 1, which is here. So browser stack integration test 1. So in this file, the first test is executed and the second test is getting executed. And then once this is done, it will go to file 2 and then file 3, file 4, file 5 and 6. Now let's go to browser stack website. Now if we go to dashboard, right, if you see at the top right, it is showing us parallel threads running 1 of 5. We are executing only one thread at a time, meaning one test case at a time. And that one test case is executing in this particular build. Now, if you want to execute more than one test, what should we do? Now, what can we do is Mocha has provided us a command, an additional tag to a command, which we can use to execute Mocha tests in serial. So what we can do is in my package.json, I can say hyphen parallel. Now, if I add this additional statement or tag at the end, now what happens is all these files will be triggered in parallel. Now, one thing that we have to notice here is it will trigger the first test file in one thread, second test file in one thread, third test file in one thread, but all the tests present inside this Mocha file, right? All these hits, they will be executed in serial only. They won't be executed in parallel. Now, all the files will be triggered at once, but all the tests inside these files, they will be executed in the same order that we have defined. Now, let's say in our case, let's say Mocha 1 is executed and Mocha 2 is executed. Mocha 3 is executed. All those things will test files will be executed in parallel, but the tests inside these files, right? They will be executed one after the other in serial only. That is the main advantage of using parallel in a command. Now let's go and see the results of our serial execution in process stack. Now if you see, this execution is still happening, a few tests are failing, few tests are passing, but it is taking so much time to complete our execution. Now if we run our tests in parallel, then the execution duration will be reduced by a good amount of time. Now let me wait until this execution is complete. Okay, the execution is completed now, and we have 10 failures and 20 tests passing. We have these 10 failures because we have explicitly added this throw error line in all the tests. So let me go and remove that line from all the tests. So we have 10 files with that, and let me do a replace all. Replace an occurrence across files. Yes, replace. Okay, this is done. So from our next run, we won't be seeing any failures. Okay, let me show you the test results in browser stack as well. Let me refresh this. So there are total 22 tests passed and 11 tests failed. Let's go back to VS Code. So I have done one change in my project. Now I have changed the version of my Mocha from 5 to 8. That's why. So I have to modify the timeouts command. Earlier it used to be timeout from version 8, right? Now because I'm using version 8, I have updated it to timeouts. And the other stuff remains same. So I'm using ---- parallel to execute all my tests in parallel. Now let's start executing our test. We know the command npm run test : mocha ps test. Now if I click enter, now all these test files, right, will start executing at the same time. Let me click on enter. Now if you look at it, I'm getting the console log for the first test case. At the same time, I got 6 logs, 7 now. Now let me go back to browser stack. If you look at it, right, the number of threads running is 4 by 5. Sometimes it is reaching 5 as well. And if you look, there are multiple tests that are being ran at the same time. And if you look at this queued section, right, even there are a couple of tests present in queued section, meaning apart from the tests that are running, right, in this parallel threads, there are 5 more tests that are waiting in the queue. At max, we can, push 5 tests in this queue. That's why it is saying 2 by 5. So there are 2 are now, there is only 1 test in queue. Now, even that 1 test is gone. There are 3 tests running. Now 2 tests, 3 again. Now this will show you what are the number of tests that are running. So the running state, right, will tell you that there are 3 tests running out of 5 available threads. Now the queue state, right, they say that these tests are in queue, waiting for their turn to get executed in one of the available parallel threads. Now for this account, right, I can execute 5 tests in parallel. So I can see that count here. So the max number of threads that I can execute in parallel is 5. And the max number of tests that can be in queue is 5. So when I execute 10 test case, right, 5 tests will be running under the parallel threads, 5 tests will be present in the queue. Now, if one of the tests that are running in the parallel threads is completed, then the test present in the queue will get chance and it will go and get executed in the thread that is available. Now let's go back to our VS Code. If you look at it, right, all our tests passed, all our 30 tests passed. Now I have added 5 more tests in the same folder, and even these tests contain same content, the same tests, Google tests, Orange HRM, and Amazon tests. Now when I run this command, now all these 15 tests will be executed in parallel. Now in case if I don't want all the 15 tests to be executed in parallel, and I only want at a particular point of time, right? Only, let's say 5 tests should be executed in parallel. Now, how can I configure that is, I'll add one more, tag to my command saying --- jobs equal to 5. Now, what this means is at a particular point of time, only 5 tests from these available tests will be executed. From these tests in this folder will be executed. Let's say first 5 tests are executed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And first test execution is completed first. Now, and second, third, fourth, fifth are being still being executed. Now the first thread is still available, right? Then 6 tests will be picked up and executed. Now at a time, at max, only 5 threads can be, 5 files can be executed. Now this is something which we are configuring in Mocha, not in Browser Stack. So don't get confused. Now this option is available for Mocha. So if we have only -- parallel, then all our test files will be executed at the same time. Now if we add -- jobs and add the number of jobs that can be run in parallel, only that amount of jobs will be executed in parallel, and the others will wait until one of the current running job is completed. Now let me try and run this. We'll use the same command. So execution started in the Browser Stack dashboard, right? So you can see 5 tests were running, all 5 parallel threads are occupied now, but you can see that none of the threads in the queued section are utilized because we are only calling or executing only 5 Mocha test files at a time, not more than that. That is why in the parallel thread, right, we are seeing the max count as 5, but we are not seeing any tests in queued section. This is how you can control how many number of tests that can be executed in parallel using -- jobs. This is how we execute multiple Mocha test files in parallel. Now we have done this using the command line interface. Now in our next lecture, right, we will see how to execute the same Mocha tests in multiple browsers. So the main advantage of Browser Stack is cross-browser testing, meaning executing the same test, right, in multiple browsers on multiple platforms like multiple operating systems or multiple mobile devices. Now in our next video, right, we will see how to achieve it. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope this is helpful. See you in the next lecture.